Hi everyone, this lesson is a fun activity to use to-do lists to analyze character traits. So we're going to look at a couple of to-do lists created by famous people in history. We're going to try to guess who that person is based on their to-do list, but more importantly, we're going to make some conclusions about their personality and their character based on their to-do list. And then we're going to practice writing our own to-do lists reflecting our own personality traits. The goal for this activity is that you'll be able to think about what kind of personality traits characters have in stories and how authors can allow readers to infer about these character traits, because it's really important that we're not just writing characters that are two-dimensional, but we need to have those dynamic characters. And one way we can think about those characters is through their personality traits. And to-do list is a fun way to think about that. So let's go ahead and get started. The to-do list you see on your screen is from a famous person in history. See if you can guess. Read the list and do your best to guess whose to-do list this is. Hint, it's a famous musician and he is no longer alive today. Alright, if you've resumed the video, that means you've read the list and made your guess. This to-do list is from Johnny Cash, yes, the king of country. So, looking at his to-do list, he's got a couple of things that reveal a little bit about his personality. The first thing that I want to conclude about Johnny Cash is that maybe he lacks self-control, or maybe he's very impulsive. I can know this because he writes on his to-do list that he should not smoke. Also that he shouldn't kiss anyone other than his wife, June. He also may be a little bit sarcastic, or maybe a little bit silly when he writes about some basic bodily functions like cough, pee, and eat. But again, I go back to the idea that he might be impulsive and he might struggle with self-discipline if he has to remind himself not to eat too much. I can also conclude and infer that perhaps he's anxious. The fact that he wrote not to worry, not that he's not anxious, but he's the opposite of anxious, that he maybe is too laid back and not anxious enough and not concerned about things going well in his life. So he has to remind himself to worry. In addition, he also values his relationship with his mother, as you can see on option number 9. Practicing piano kind of gave us that hint that maybe he was a musician. And the notes section, not write notes. Again, I think that just reveals how sarcastic, silly, and maybe Johnny Cash feels that writing a to-do list is pointless because he's kind of doing it in a funny way. So these are some character traits that I concluded based on Johnny Cash. Let's try this again with another famous person from history. This person is much, much, much older, in fact, quite a few centuries older than Johnny Cash. See if you can read his to-do list and guess whose it is. Alright, if you're playing this, that means you've read through the to-do list and you've guessed. And this to-do list belongs to Benjamin Franklin. Now, Benjamin Franklin structures his to-do list by hours of the day in that center, and then he has what he's going to do at each hour here. He also has his reflections here. Starting with these pieces, the morning question and the evening question, I'm going to conclude that Benjamin Franklin is really reflective, insightful, and cares about personal growth. He cares about making a positive impact on the world. So he asks himself what his intention for good is that day, and then he makes himself reflect on it. Did he actually accomplish it? So he's a really insightful, reflective person who strives to do the best he can and to better for others. Now, I also think he's very disciplined because he wakes up early. He spends most of his day working. He does allow himself some leisure time, as you can see, in the evening. But for most of the morning and day, he's either working or reading. He has to eat at some point, so he eats lunch at 12 o'clock. But overall, he's extremely intentional about his day. So he's very disciplined, very organized, very intentional, hardworking, dedicated to accomplishing good in the world. So those are some character traits that I analyzed from Benjamin Franklin. Let's go ahead and use this time now to move on to your activity below on your screen, not on this video, but on the Canvas page, and you're going to create your own to-do list and write your own analysis of your own personality traits. Good luck!